Can I help you?
I'm looking for Pat Dugan.
He doesn't live here. Moved. Months ago now.
Any idea where I can find him?
Who are you?
I'm an old friend. Name's Sylvester Pemberton.
You did it. You crazy son of a bitch, you did it.
Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Stargirl, and we've got some stuff to talk about. So Season 1 of Stargirl is done and dusted with a balls-to-the-wall finale. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. But of course, we had various storylines wrapped up in that finale, but also quite a lot of setup for Season 2, more than you would expect based off other shows at least. Stargirl did quite a lot. But in this video, we're going to go over all the major setup done in the last 10 minutes or so of the Season 1 finale and what it means heading into Season 2. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below which of these cliffhangers and setup got you the most excited, which one are you most looking forward to come Season 2, and even leave your own various theories in the comments section down below if you do have them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you just found this informative and you're looking forward to Stargirl Season 2, why not drop a like on the video to show support? Would be greatly appreciated. But we will go in order of how they appeared in the finale. I think that makes sense. So the first one is, of course, the arrival of the Shade into Blue Valley. Now, he arrives into the ISA's headquarters shortly after the events of the main portion of the finale, as we see the news report with the cover of the earthquake for what went on in Blue Valley. Now, he does say, "Oh, Jordan, I told you it was folly." That's my attempt at an accent, even though it wasn't the best attempt. And that's as his darkness manipulation kicks in, and it covers the big photo or portrait of the ISA closing in on his, shades, if you want to call it. Now, that darkness manipulation allows various abilities, which would be cool to see in more detail come next season. Now, in regards to folly, that just means silly or foolish. It was like, yeah, Jordan, your plan was stupid, and yeah, it failed. But of course, we know thanks to earlier in the season that the Shade betrayed the ISA, but that is also a part of that night 10 years ago when the ISA defeated the JSA. So he was like the guy that grabs Dr. Midnight. So I would assume next season we will learn exactly when that quote-unquote betrayal happened, but it wouldn't surprise me too much if the ISA's plan was something that the Shade just couldn't partake in. Maybe it affected Opal City. Now, I mentioned Opal City as the Shade is a fairly complex character where he isn't 100% evil or good. He's in a unique grey area where he is pretty much a hero and savior to Opal City or protector of Opal City, but that's where his heroic escapades, if you want to call them, are limited to. So it will be very interesting to see how he is represented on Stargirl. However, the fact he appears to have taken ownership of the ISA HQ makes you think he will continue their villainous operations along with the surviving members of the ISA from Season 1, that being Sportsmaster, Tigress, and the Gambler, from what we know at least. Who else? Dragon King might have survived, who knows? But also potentially a new member or two along with them. But of course, you'd expect the Shade to have a plan of his own, so I'm very curious to see where they go with all of that. Now, next up is that setup with Cindy, aka Shiv. So we last see Cindy Berman in Season 1 of Stargirl rummaging through the belongings of William Zarek, aka the Wizard, and she retrieves this small box, which we find out contains a black diamond, which holds the trapped Spirit of Wrath, otherwise known as Eclipso. Now, originally he is trapped in a bigger black diamond in the comics known as the Heart of Darkness, which was later split into 1,000 equal smaller black diamonds, which all contained a part of Eclipso. Now, based on the size of the diamond that Cindy pulled out, you would assume it's one of the smaller, 1,000 pieces, but they could change up some lore and just say that all of Eclipso is trapped in that one diamond. Maybe someone in the JSA did it, or something along those lines. It will be interesting to see where they go with that backstory, considering it's also connected to Apocalypse in the comics. So I can see them definitely straying away from that, but you never know, they might go full-on comic. We'll have to wait and see. Now, Eclipso is able to possess people through these diamonds, but usually when they hold anger or negative thoughts on someone else. So due to that, we could see Cindy herself be taken over by Eclipso due to it. Because we know what she has gone through and what she thinks of Stargirl and the other JSA members and everything like that. There's a lot of pent-up aggression and anger there. But there's actually already an existing character on the show connected to a current Justice Society member who was possessed by Eclipso in the comics, and that is Alex Montez, who is the brother of Yolanda Montez, aka Wildcat. Now in the comics, Alex Montez is actually the cousin of Yolanda, but as we saw in episode 4 of Stargirl, in the show he is now her brother. In the comics though, Alex willingly took the mantle of Eclipso through interesting means. I don't think they'll do it on the show, so I'll just say, like, he pretty much injects himself with all the melted down diamonds. And then keeps one of them so he has like control. It's interesting. I don't think they'll do it on the show. However, we could see Eclipso take over more than one person on the show. Hell, he could take over all the ISA members, or maybe some of the ISA members, some of the JSA members. In the comics, he is even responsible for the deaths of Yolanda and Beth. I don't think that's a spoiler because I just can't see that happening on the show, but there could be heavy references to that come season 2. Yolanda Montez is not like a non-entity in the comics, really. She's killed fairly quickly in the whole Eclipso drama shortly after she's even present, and Beth has a longer run, but they're both killed due to Eclipso. And we could also have the characters of Jade and Obsidian, who are the children of the Alan Scott version of Green Lantern, who are featured heavily during the Eclipso's presence during the comics as well. And also there's the tease with the whole Green Lantern that's just sitting there waiting to be used by someone, so maybe Jade comes into it. We saw Obsidian on Legend of Tomorrow, if you remember that, but I don't know, I just can't wait to see what they do there. Lots of stuff could be touched upon with the whole Eclipso thing. Now in regards to Eclipso, he has a bunch of abilities ranging from just super strength, which you expect, to flight, to also magic. He's technically like a magical based, not magical based, but definitely a magical influenced character and villain. But it is when you focus on his weaknesses where you get a feel of where season 2 could be heading, and that is a lot of nighttime scenes, which would go well with the Shade as well. But Eclipso has a weakness to the sun, and like a sort of a restriction, if you want to call it, to only being able to appear during nighttime. So he can only be called upon at nighttime, and sunlight is his weakness. So maybe the cosmic staff could replicate that, which would be an issue for him. I don't think it will be. I think that'd be a bit too overpowered on Courtney's side against Eclipso. But it's definitely going to limit, where he can appear, which would be nighttime. So whether or not Stargirl heads for a darker tone in season 2, it looks like visually at the very least it could get a bit darker when it comes to taking on the villains, or at least Eclipso. Now Eclipso's story has the potential to actually line up with another one of the cliffhangers for season 1 of Stargirl heading into season 2, and that is actually the return of Starman, aka Sylvester Pemberton. And of course the end credit scene for Stargirl season 1 saw Sylvester Pemberton himself, aka Starman, show up to Pat Dugan's former address in California looking for him, going, "Hey, where's my good old friend?" Now obviously the big question around this is whether this is actually Sylvester Pemberton or not. Now, in regards to Sylvester, this isn't a thing in the comics. That's why it was such a huge surprise for viewers, whether you're completely new to anything DC related or knew a lot about the character or somewhere in the middle. But for the sake of this video, we are just going to assume that it's him, that it's actually Sylvester, he's alive. He didn't actually die on that night 10 years ago. Now on that night, the cosmic staff clearly stopped glowing, as if it was indicating the loss of Sylvester's life, as if he just died at that moment. However, there is the chance that just that speech he gave to Pat is him handing over ownership to whoever is worthy next of the staff, obviously that being Courtney in the end. Now in regards to why he is now looking for Pat, it could be due to him getting like an inner feeling, or just he just knows, if you want to call it, that the staff has found its new holder or owner or something like that. You could say it's because he knows that what went down in Blue Valley wasn't an earthquake and it was connected to either the ISA or JSA, but then why would he go to Pat's California address? Wouldn't he just head to Blue Valley? Then again, maybe he was just making sure he had moved and it wasn't like it wasn't connected to Pat or anything like that, who knows? But anyway, in regards to that connection to Eclipso, and this is just a general theory in regards to how season 2 could come to an end and stuff like that. It probably won't happen. It's actually fairly unlikely, but they have mixed up the lore with Starman as a character, so this could lean into that a bit more. Like if you didn't know, Sylvester Pemberton was never Starman in the comics. He never held that title, but on the show, we know him as Starman. But in the comics during the late 80s and early 90s, I think it was right towards the end of the 80s and right at the beginning of the 90s, one of the holders of the Starman mantle, who was called William Payton, sacrificed himself in order to take down Eclipso. Now, this version of Starman was pretty damn powerful, pretty much on the level of an actual star, because he got his abilities through a different way. He didn't use the cosmic staff or anything like that. It was like the power was embedded within him. So the mantle of Starman was pretty fitting, but he actually sort of like supernovas himself, if you want to call it, because he's like a living star, if you want to call it. So he supernovas himself to destroy Eclipso. Now, there's no way they're going to recreate that moment from the comics into the show, but we could see a storyline where maybe Sylvester Pemberton knows about Eclipso and even maybe had the chance to rid the world of Eclipso in the past, but didn't take the chance at the time, but now he can. Regardless, like all the other cliffhangers, it will be interesting to see how everything plays out, but it would be an interesting storyline if we have Starman coming in, maybe mentoring Courtney for a bit, maybe teaching her some more skills with the staff and maybe just various things like that, like having an actual mentor, which did happen in the comics, by the way, with like Jack Knight and stuff like that. But then maybe it could lead to him maybe being the hero for the season. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, as well as the rest of everything else that we've talked about in this video. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what we went over. Which one of these cliffhangers are you looking forward to the most in season 2 and seeing it play out and everything like that? If you have any other theories, let me know in the comments section down below as well. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.